time for Beyond the Bylines with myself, Tim Benz, and Joe Starkey. After a week off, Joe is with us, although only briefly. Kind of have a short show today because you're going out to Monroeville for the show and you got to fight through the Squirrel Hole Tunnel. Is that the problem?
No. What's going to happen when they shut that down for a month?
We're just going to stay in our homes. Like, we thought the draft was bad. This is when the real problem occurs.
How are you supposed to get to, let's say, Monroeville?
How are you supposed to get out to training camp?
Seriously, how are you? Yeah, are you going to go turnpike?
I don't know. I might have to cut through Shady Side, go up that way, go up 30. That's going to be terrible coming from the north side.
For training camp, I think I would go 28 to, Harmerville, around that area where you get on the turnpike, and then you just take the turnpike out. But that's going to be horrifying.
I think I might just stay up in the hunting cabin with Adamski and Chris Harlan the whole time and never come home for a month.
Is that where they go?
Yeah, we've got a hunting cabin up there. Did you know that? Have you seen it yet? Oh, yeah. Ever since COVID, when they kicked us out of the dorms, we got this hunting cabin that's like 6 miles from campus right on the creek. And we just sit there with these deer heads and bass and turkeys that are on the wall. It's great. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Do you go hunting?
No, I don't go hunting. I could Loyalhanna Creek. I could go fishing if I wanted to.
Gormy the Owl would be right at home out in the wilderness.
I don't know if Gormy the Owl's ever been there. I think Gormy ended up on the Pirates beat before we got the hunting cabin.
I know. Be nice to have him there for a night, though.
I'm going to talk to Gormy the Owl as soon as we're done with this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we do our baseball podcast. What do you think of our Buccos, Joe, getting the Phillies here?
Man, it evokes memories.
Nice if Philadelphia stopped screwing us and the Pirates could get a series win.
Yeah. I'd like that. It also evokes memories of one of the great rivalries in Pittsburgh sports history, the 70s Phillies and the 70s Pirates. They should be in the same division, don't you think?
I saw, what was the remapped one that they did like a year or two ago? They still weren't in it, right? It was just like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, Washington, and I think that might have been it because it was all 4-team divisions, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a bunch of them. That one makes sense, like a Rust Belt division. Yeah. With like Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Detroit, Milwaukee. That would be cool. But you know what? I wouldn't mind going back to the old NL East. Pittsburgh, the Mets, the Phillies. That would be tremendous.
Well, the Mets rivalry is what I was reared on, the Muck the Fets rivalry from back in the late 80s, early 90s. Because there was that one year where it was Pirates, Mets clearly atop the division, and the Pirates hadn't quite gotten to their ascent yet. In fact, they took a step back the next year. So that was like 88 when it was just they beat everybody but the Mets, and the Mets couldn't lose to the Pirates. They would take 3 of 4 all the time. And then the Pirates got their revenge in 1990.
They also got Zane Smith, which helped them get their revenge. But anyway, this weekend's going to be great. A lot of people this week talking, Tim, about attendance. I think the Pirates are third worst. Whether this is a baseball town, Bob Smizek came out of nowhere like you at a Tomlin news conference off the top rope and dropped one saying basically we're a mediocre baseball town. And he pointed to the Skeens game the other night. I thought that was a little bit unfair, honestly. What'd you think of it?
His comment or the reality of it?
That, yes, and the general sentiment of what kind of baseball town is this?
I thought 13,000 was a little weak for him. I think it's time to start recognizing what we're seeing here. And actually, I think that attendance for that game from Skeens got the Pirates' attention because if you noticed, they've kind of been, hey, reminder, Skeens is pitching Sunday. Skeens is pitching Sunday. They're starting to put it out there a little bit more so you check it on your calendar. And maybe they get a little bit more walk up. They're never going to have Pedro Day like it used to be in Boston whenever Martinez would pitch at Fenway. It's probably never going to be that, but it can be better than what it is for a fan base that claims to be dying for a winner and a competitor. You've got one of the biggest stars in baseball, so I would think they could do a little bit better job.
I mean, it's an event town. It's a winner's town. It's number one by a trillion miles, a football town. Having said that, there are some deep, generational ties here with baseball. But unless the Pirates win, there's nobody outside of Western Pennsylvania who would think of Pittsburgh as a baseball town. Nobody. However, if you live here, you know that ties run deep. You know what I mean? And if they start winning, people will show up. But in the meantime, it's really not a hard equation here. They haven't won in 10 years. They've won like 3 years out of the past 30 or 40. 40? I think 40. So people, the season ticket base is down, and that's where you're going to get, if you're going to get people to come out on a cold, rainy night in May for anybody pitching, you better have a big season ticket base, and they don't right now. But it'll change as far as attendance goes if they keep winning, Tim. If they keep winning, this summer will be wild down there. I went back and looked at 2011. They were on an 18-year losing streak, but they were in first place in July, and people were lined up on the Clemente Bridge ready to fill that ballpark. It'll happen regardless of the season ticket base.
Were they giving away bobbleheads that night you're talking about?
It's a bobblehead town. Wasn't that a famous Smizek
That was
quote?
a Smizek drop-in with Colony back when we were working together at 1250. Right. Is it a bobblehead town or a hockey town, too? We're going to have the same question about the Penguins next year.
Yeah, we always have that question, too. We had it this year when they were winning, and I
don't think attendance really kicked in for the team itself until, what would you say, after the Olympics?
Right, because they hadn't won in a while. So that's the way it goes.
What are they going to do next year? What do you think of what Dubas had to say?
Well, what stood out was that Gino's coming back, but then we had Tyler Kennedy, who's had a little bit of a rough week on social media, with me yesterday saying that he's hearing Gino wants 2 years. Forget that. That changes everything, doesn't it?
It feels to me like some of that has been planted. I don't know. I mean, like maybe Gino's actually spoken with Kennedy. Maybe Kennedy's spoken with people close to Gino, but it feels like the approach right now from Dubas is to make it sound like they're welcoming and then let negotiations kind of seep out from there about how much Malkin's asking for, how long he's asking for, and then the divorce within the fan base is a little bit more palatable to accept because Gino's asking for too much. I feel like this is strategic. What do you think?
Well, regardless of whether it's strategic, if it's true, then it does totally change fan sentiment. Like, it changes my sentiment. He can still play. He's a second-line winger. Like, the future of the franchise is not hanging in the balance over whether Malkin plays next year. It's true he's not blocking anyone. I want him to come back. He deserves that season, I think, the farewell. But 2, that changes everything. And suddenly fans who are in his corner to come back won't be. He said it. I want to play 1 more year. So if he's asking for 2, forget it.
That said, if he puts up exactly the same numbers next year as he did this year, he's going to want to come back, and they're going to go through the same song and dance next year until Skid retires.
I don't know. They should make it clear. That would look ridiculous, by the way, if he's having a farewell tour across the league this year.
Well, hold on for a second. Let's stop right there, because the notion of the farewell tour for Gino cracks me up. There's not going to be a farewell tour for Gino.
What do you mean?
2 people in the NHL are going to get a farewell tour. One of them wears 87 in this town, and one of them wears 8 in Washington. Those are the only 2 guys that are getting farewell tours in stadium to stadium across the NHL. Gino is wildly popular here. He's a well-known player, but it's going to be like Anze Kopitar in Los Angeles. You might get like a little stick tap at the first time out from each team.
Right.
But it's not going to be like this. It's not going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar getting a rocking chair on the parquet in Boston. People are making this out to be like it's going to be a nightly occurrence in 41 other buildings.
No.
15, whatever it is, 30 other buildings. It's not going to be that.
No, nobody thinks it's going to be that. The farewell tour is here. And then around the league, he's going to be acknowledged for sure. But the farewell tour is here. When I say it'll look ridiculous, it will. If he comes back after that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't look. I think Gino was snubbed the whole top 100 thing in the NHL. I think he might be underappreciated within the National Hockey League media and other cities based on how good he's been is maybe like the Robin to Crosby's Batman, where it's closer than that and they're more like 1 and 1A, but it's never going to be on the level of what Ovechkin or Crosby's attention will be whenever those guys announce their retirement.
Of course.
And like what about actually I'm might be talking myself in a circle in this one, but what if Ovechkin were to come out and say, one more year, this is it, I'm done next year, and Malkin were to say the same thing? Would that help or hurt the attention on Gino, do you think?
League-wide?
Yeah, league-wide.
Probably hurt, but
I think it might help, because if people are laying the foundation for Ovechkin, it might be like, oh, by the way, that Malkin guy was pretty good too. We should probably do a little something for him on the way out the door as well.
But we're acknowledging that it's not going to be heavy for Malkin anyway around the league.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be moderate. I think it's going to be little golf clap after the first time out in the first period, wherever he goes.
Yeah, what happens here is the important thing, and I think fans want that. He's a Penguins legend.
So they move on? Like this whole thing about, I thought Dubas, for the most part, Joe, was really honest in what he said in his evaluation about the Penguins, but I didn't hear a plan to make it better. Did you? I didn't.
No, the only thing I heard in there was we have to find, first of all, we're not good enough. Watching the playoffs, he's saying, I'm seeing this
Carolina,
Colorado, I'm seeing Montreal.
The high-scoring, the 9-6 game, we couldn't compete there. The 2-1 game with 9 shots on goal, we couldn't compete defensively there. He was right about all that. But, like, when he said we're trying to find guys who are in their mid to late 20s who are, star players that might not have a great situation somewhere else, he's, like, actively recruiting them to come to Pittsburgh. But then he said, don't expect us to spend all this money in free agency, even though we got $42.5 million to spend. Well, how else are you going to do it? You're going to have to trade for guys or, make RFA offer sheets to guys, and you are going to be spending that money then to get guys to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the free agency class stinks.
But
I was going to say, if he hinted at any plan, that would be it. Bringing mid-20, upper 20 really good players here. It's not easy to do. But then again, it's not easy to reel in the reigning Norris Trophy winner, and he did that a couple of years ago. You got to make trades, I guess. That seems to be the most logical way, unless they're going to sign like an RFA to an offer sheet or something. The best way to do it's trades. He's stuck. He's stuck between he never tore it all the way down, so they don't have, any more. They're not going to get a generational face of the franchise type guy. He decided to try to win, and they had a great year. And every move he made pretty much turned to gold this year. Can he do it again? And would it matter if he brought back a Tony Mantha type next year?
I don't know what the number would be on. You know what would matter? In the playoffs, where he doesn't do squat.
Right.
He's a good regular season player, then he stinks in the playoffs. What'd you think of the schedule, Joe, for the Steelers? It was released last night. Actually, it was released throughout the day. It's been released for 3 days in a row. I'm glad the leaks are over and we finally have it all put together. I looked at it. The first thing I thought was really easy early, really hard late, better stack up some wins early. And I also got the impression that the NFL, the schedule makers, the networks are under the presumption that Aaron Rodgers is coming back, or they think the Steelers can somehow stay competitive without him because, man, are they on prime time a lot late in the season.
Well, what I see is a schedule that's unusually tough, I think, from beginning to end. I don't see soft spots. When you say easy at the beginning, where do you see that?
I see 7 games between the start of the season and their bye where they don't play a playoff team from last year, but one. They play the Patriots, and then from there through the Bengals game in Week 10, they don't play a team that was above 500, right?
Well, yes, but they go into New England. They play Cincy, if you want to call that. I mean, a team that a lot of people think might get out of the AFC from what I'm seeing. They go into Cleveland on a Thursday night, which is a nightmare. They've got Jonathan Taylor, and they visit Baker Mayfield. It's the easier part of their schedule, but I wouldn't call it easy.
Might be a test of, when we talked about typical Tomlin road losses, like the annual Thursday night game in Cleveland that you referenced.
Right.
How different is McCarthy really? Because there are mainly winnable games there. And by the way, for all the people who are upset about Thursday nights and Sunday nights and Amazon games and prime time and Black Friday. If you want your plain old traditional 1 o'clock Sunday starts, you got a lot of them early. It's pretty much all that up until week 11, and then it goes haywire from there. So enjoy it while you got it. I heard you get into quite the row with City Limits and Pompietti yesterday about Black Friday. You're still upset about the Black Friday game. Actually, you were on the other side. They were upset about the Black Friday game. You loved the Black Friday game.
I just like watching football, especially good games, and I think that's a hell of a game, potentially. Steelers, Broncos. I like football on holidays, too. This is America, last I checked. We love football, and we love holidays, and we love it when they're together, I guess. I don't know what's going on. I like family time, too, Tim, but not from morning to midnight. Plus, we can bond over football. It's at 3 p.m. on a Friday. I love that idea. Steelers, Broncos, right after my show, right after you and I do the morning show, I get to go home and watch a great football game. Why? Limit says he goes to the mall with his family. Who does that?
60-year-old women.
Does anybody? I thought we all shopped online. Anymore.
Isn't he in his 20s? What's he doing mall walking on Black Friday?
I don't know. What do you think?
Is that a way to meet chicks? I might
clearly,
be.
Clearly not. What do you think? Do you like it?
What, the Black Friday game?
Yeah.
I'm not wild about it. I think 3 o'clock is a weird start for Black Friday. I think I'd be more on board if it was just at night, to be frank.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with it then. Friday night, to me, I'm glad they didn't do the game on Wednesday, that they don't have the Wednesday pre-Thanksgiving game, because that's supposed to be the annual big drunken fest at the arena for Penguins fans, isn't it? We can't bleed in there and have both games at the same night. What would we do there?
I think I'm just ready for football every day of the week and afternoons too.
It does get saturated though, doesn't it? I mean, there is a little something to, do you want to water down the special occasion that is Sunday?
For you, maybe, not for me. I want to watch it Monday. I want to watch it Sunday night, Monday night. I want a Tuesday night game. I want a Wednesday afternoon game, a Thursday night game. I'd love to see every Friday at 3 o'clock, a Saturday night doubleheader, and Sunday games.
Friday night happy hour games might not be a bad idea.
Right?
Start them at like 5 o'clock Eastern time. That might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. The problem is you get some bad ones, but that could be on Sunday too. A bad game is a bad game. What can you do?
All right, let's get to our Trib Treats and our Friday free-for-all, Joe. What do you have for us this week? Let's start with our Trib Treats first of all.
Okay, a Trib Treat. Let's talk Phillies Pirates. One of the greatest things that ever happened in the history of sports, and certainly Pittsburgh sports, and certainly my history, was Dave Parker with the goalie mask, which was just incredible. And then he ran over the catcher. I forget who the Phillies catcher would have been.
Would it have been Boone? Was it Bob Boone?
Maybe. Yeah.
That's roughly the right era, isn't it?
Yeah. And there are legendary stories about that. I think he actually broke his jaw running into the catcher and then wore a goalie mask for a number of games. He was already the most intimidating figure in the game. Those are golden childhood memories. Pirates.
Did he change from the goalie mask to the face mask?
Yes, he did.
Midway through the recovery or something like that?
Yeah. Unbelievable. Legendary stuff.
My Trib Treat is going to be, did you see the Mitch Marner goal last night?
Yeah.
Who did that remind you of and where?
Mario
against Quebec.
Against Quebec. Very
against the
good.
Nordiques. Remember that with who was it? Was it Stastny that was hanging all over him on the breakaway down the ice, and he still scored?
I had to look at this one 8 times to figure out what he actually did at the end.
Yeah, Mario didn't go between the legs at the end.
No. One of the greatest goals I've ever seen in a playoff game, right?
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic, and it made all the highlight reels. The best view, did you see like the reverse angle view of it?
Yeah.
That was something else. That was impressive. Now, the ironic part about this and talking about the Lemieux angle to it is it dovetailed with the CHL putting out its list of top 50 players ever, and they put Mario number 1. And the release that they had was all this unbelievable footage of Mario from his days in Laval. Did you see this yet or no?
No, but I want you to send it to me. Who put it out?
I'll send it to you. It's fantastic. It's like I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes worth of just Mario highlights dancing through junior players in Laval.
Oh, man.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, man.
They had 10 people out there. Like, I called the Ryan Malone black and gold breaking the mold game at the RMU Island Sports Center with Pursuta the other day.
Yeah.
Like, Brian Rust was playing in it. So it was like an active NHL player against beer league guys and retired guys. And Rust just decided at one point he was going to go end to end. And he danced through everybody on the ice, even his own teammates, and scored this unbelievable goal. And it still wasn't as impressive as what Mario was doing against junior players back in 1983 in Laval. It was unbelievable.
Thank God Eddie Johnston did what he did. That took guts, man. That took guts. They basically threw games in order to draft Mario.
Do you remember Rocky Sagana by any chance?
I know the name, yeah.
He played with the Penguins on that 84 team. He was with the Maple Leafs for a long time in the late 70s and then played with the Penguins on the 84 team. He was one of the guys who was skating in the Malone game on Wednesday night. And we talked to him on the bench, and he was telling these unbelievable stories about that team that ended up losing for Mario. And he also told a story about Pat Quinn and EJ almost getting into a fight, going at it as the whole team was like attacking Rocky. And then afterwards, the coaches got into it, and EJ got into it with Pat Quinn.
EJ is the last guy to play every single minute of every single game as a goalie, is he not?
I believe that's the case, right? And did he have a mask or did he not have a mask then?
Hell no. And the backup goalie was like a volunteer fireman just sitting in the crowd because they knew he wouldn't have to come in. Or I guess they did that anyway in those days.
All right, before we go, Joe, what's your Friday free-for-all? Because I know you got to get out of here to go to Monroeville.
Getting to Monroeville and what's going to happen in July. I'm just astounded, not just with Monroeville. And I like the traffic cone thing with the Pirates, don't get me wrong. Everywhere I go, there's some sort of shutdown. There's some sort of construction. And I certainly don't begrudge anybody good work. I mean, they work hard. It's a good job. But I have to believe that there's quotas that need to be fulfilled for the money to keep coming in. So they just make up things to do. There are, maybe I don't know, but there are roads where there's nothing wrong. There's apparently nothing wrong. And yet there's construction. What are they doing?
Well, this whole thing about like, why weren't there more people at the draft? Like, why didn't more Pittsburghers coming into the draft? This is why, because there's a crisis of confidence that the city could ever have pulled off anything like that. So all of Pittsburgh, because you can't get to Monroeville for 6 weeks in July, people, right. I'm not going somewhere where there's 500,000 people. So everybody stayed the hell away. It's like a self-defeating prophecy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a crisis of confidence because they can't handle traffic cones in any summer. How in the hell are they supposed to handle 700,000 people at once? So people stayed the hell away until the last day of the draft when they're like, oh, no one's here, so we can show up and the traffic's easy. It was bizarre, but that's why.
I think we should have the Olympics here. Do you?
Remember when Ravenstall floated that out there? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Like he actually suggested it. Like I'm thinking,
I think we could
do the bike riding at the Velodrome on Washington Boulevard. Like where are they going to do all the events?
Yes, we're going to do that. We're going to have the Winter Olympics here.
Trees Hall could be for the diving and swimming.
Nobody could get into Oakland. If there's one spot right now that's like unapproachable, Oakland is a bloody nightmare.
They could do fencing outside where the medieval reenactors, the LARPers, participate.
For sure.
That. Exactly.
Do the ice skating on the rivers. They could go out to Seven Springs.
Yeah, they could skate on the rivers like Will Ferrell in Blades of Glory.
Right. Go out to Seven Springs for the skiing. It would be incredible.
All right, so my trip treat is your trip to Paris. Is that going to happen?
I'm lobbying for it. I need a sponsor. So a buddy of mine who owns a financial firm is threatening to sponsor me. I think I might go.
I like that. Are we ever going to get you back?
What?
Are we ever going to get you back if you go there?
Man, I don't know. Have you been there?
I've never been to Paris. I looked it up. If I were to do it like you were talking about yesterday, I wouldn't be able to go without going to Normandy.
Yeah, that's a must.
I've got to see Normandy someday before I die. And it's a 2-hour train ride. I checked it out. So it's a 2-hour train ride to and from Paris. So you have to book it in at least 4 hours of travel and then however long you're there for the day.
Are you going?
No, from the trip? I'm not going from the trip. No. I mean, like, maybe if you're a private equity guy, if your private equity guy wants us to go and do Beyond the Bylines there, I'm all for it, Joe. I'll go. I'll be your travel companion. I don't even know if I'll work. I'll take the week off, but I'll go with you.
Are you scared of flying over the ocean at all?
Absolutely not. I went to Ireland. Not this past trip for the Steelers, but I've been to Ireland and England, so I'm not afraid of the water.
Were you thinking about it at all, that there's sharks down there and other strange sea animals?
Joe, if the plane crashes in the water, I'm not going to be worried about the shark.
I know, but they're still there.
They're still there, and then I'll be gone. The little bits and pieces of Tim Benz will be swallowed up by Jaws. That's fine. If the plane hits the water, the least of my problems is going to be the shark by that point.
Man, I remember landing in Ireland the year I went, 1997. It was right as the sun was rising on Shannon. We went to Shannon Airport, and the green there is unlike any other green on the planet, I think. When did you land?
We landed in Dublin, and we were there.
What time of day?
Morning, early afternoon.
Yeah.
Dublin's a little different, though. Dublin, you're landing in a city. It's not the same thing. You don't see the green until you get out of the airport and out of the city. And then we went down the East Coast to Kinsale. So it was more rolling hills than that, Galway green that you always hear about.
Did you drink there?
What's that?
Did you drink there?
Not Galway. What do I mean? But anyway, yeah. I mean, I drank, sure. I think Ireland is a little bit overrated as a beer country, quite frankly. They don't have a lot of choices. They have Smittix, they have Harp, they have It's the same 5 or 6 taps in every bar in Ireland.
Yeah, they do what they do, like the Steelers.
That's right.
They go 10-8 every year.
And it's so fitting. Do you think it's going to sell out? Will the Steelers be popular enough to sell out an 80,000-seat stadium in Paris?
Absolutely. They could sell out an 80,000-seat stadium on top of Mount Everest. I'm convinced of it. It's crazy. You've seen it. Yeah. Everywhere I've been, anywhere I've been. Well, I'll tell you one quick story. Walking across the Golden Gate Bridge a million years ago, the night before, or the day before Kevin Barlow beat them. Remember that on a Monday night in San Francisco?
Yeah.
The sun was just rising, and there they are, bunches of Steeler fans on the Golden Gate Bridge. And we've seen it everywhere. We saw it in Ireland. Why not Paris?
We could see it along the River Seine. There's a river there, just like there is here.
How about Yinzer's pronouncing the Louvre? How will that go?
That's been all over the internet now. It's Pittsburgh fans taking over Paris and trying to say things in French with the Yinzer accent. Did you see the schedule release with Gardell?
No.
And Bill Crawford, the Steelers put out there, like, it was basically doing the schedule release in Yinzerese with Gardell and Crawford. That was their schedule release.
I would like to see that, yes.
The Titans one was the best one with the Simpsons, where they found actual Simpsons clips for all 17 of their games against their opponents. It was very funny.
What's the clip for the Titans game?
It's when they go to see Mr. Burns' house in Pennsylvania instead of Transylvania. So it's not a Pittsburgh reference, it's a Pennsylvania reference. But
the greatest Homer Simpson quote of all time is alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Yes, and you will find that out when you go to Paris, Joe, and drink as much red wine as humanly possible. So enjoy it. You got to go. I know you got to get to Monroeville.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, we'll see you next week here on Beyond the Bylines before Memorial Day. Myself, Tim Benz, and Joe Starkey. Listen to Joe today, 10 until 2, and I will be on next week on 105.9 The X for Mark Madden on Thursday and Friday. You can check out Madden Monday podcast, and you can check out Madden Benz Unfiltered on Monday.